Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into two of the world's most fascinating democracies, India and the United States. I mean, in some ways, they're total opposites, right? But their futures are getting more and more connected every single day. So we're going to take a look at what that really means in 2026 and why it's something you'll want to keep an eye on. Here's our game plan. We're going to start with the money, how people spend their cash every day. Then we'll get into the big stuff, how each country handles health and education. From there, we'll see how all that plays out in the workplace. And finally, how these two giants are teaming up on the world stage. All right, let's jump right in with something we all understand, money. How much does it actually cost to live a pretty standard middle-class life in these two countries? The answer, well, it shows a massive and kind of surprising gap. So check this out. For a typical urban family in 2026, the numbers are just wow. In the US, your monthly bills can easily stack up to $5,700. But for a similar lifestyle in India, it's closer to $1,000. That's a nearly 6-to-1 difference. But here's the kicker. This isn't just a story about one country being richer than the other. And this quote from Nitin Kaushik really gets to the heart of it. The key difference is structural. In America, a lot of your biggest costs are just baked into the system. In India, you have a bit more freedom in how you spend. And this breakdown shows you exactly what that means. Just look at daycare in the US. It's a huge fixed expense every single month. Same with mandatory health insurance. Now, these costs exist in India too, of course, but they're not nearly as rigid. They take up a much smaller chunk of the budget, which leaves more money for, lifestyle choices. Okay, so let's build on that and look at how they approach health. Because it's not just about different insurance plans or hospitals. We're talking about two completely different philosophies of what it even means to be well. In the US, it's pretty straightforward. Biomedicine, Western medicine, is king. It's the one recognized system. Anything else is often seen as alternative, and maybe even looked at with a bit of suspicion. India, though, is a whole different ballgame. It's this amazing mix where multiple systems are all recognized, respected, and used right alongside each other. And that medical scene is just incredibly diverse. Of course, you have modern biomedicine, from fancy private hospitals to basic clinics. But you also have traditional Ayurvedic medicine, which is this ancient system all about balancing your body's elements. You've got yoga, not just as exercise, but as a serious health practice. And get this. You can even go to a local pharmacist, describe your symptoms, and get a diagnosis and a prescription right there. It's a totally different way of thinking about care. This comment from an American student who studied in India just nails it. It's this huge contrast between the Western diagnose, prescribe your fixed model and a much more holistic approach that pulls from all sorts of different beliefs and treatments to achieve well-being. All right, from taking care of the body, let's talk about shaping the mind. How do these two nations prepare the next generation? And here again, we're not just looking at a system that's set in stone. We're looking at one that's in the middle of a massive change. For as long as anyone can remember, India's school system was called 10+2. But now, the country's rolling out a totally new structure, 5+3+3+4. So what's the big idea? Well, it's all about shifting the focus to match how kids' brains actually develop, starting with play-based learning all the way down at age 3. And let me tell you, these changes are coming from a place of real urgency. Data from just a few years back showed a serious learning gap. I mean, look at this 2018 survey. In rural areas, more than half of fifth graders couldn't read at a second grade level. This new policy is designed to attack that foundational problem right from the very beginning. So we've looked at the big systems, money, health, education. Now let's get into the human software, those unwritten cultural rules that dictate how people work together. And believe me, this is where things get really interesting. Okay, picture this. You've worked hard on a design, you send it off, and you get this feedback. Now, depending on where you're from, that might feel a little blunt, maybe even harsh. But in a typical American workplace, that's just seen as clear, direct, and efficient communication. And that's the whole point. It all comes down to what each culture prioritizes. In the US, communication is generally super direct. The goal is clarity, getting to the best result, period. In India, it's often more indirect because the top priority is keeping relationships harmonious and not causing anyone to lose face. And this communication style really comes from something much deeper. American culture is famously individualistic. It's all about the I. Personal achievement, climbing the ladder, that's what's celebrated.
Indian culture, on the other hand, is much more collectivistic. The focus is on the we. Your identity is tied to your group, and team success is what really matters. Okay, for our final section, let's zoom all the way out. We've seen these really deep differences in everything from paying bills to giving feedback at work. So the question is, how on earth do two such different countries build a powerful partnership on the world stage? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle is, you guessed it, economics.
In a world where most economies are kind of slowing down, India is a massive exception. Its economy is projected to grow by almost 7% in 2026. That is more than double the global average. This makes India an absolutely critical economic partner for the United States.
And that economic muscle is turning into real-world policy. In early 2026, the two nations signed a landmark trade deal. The whole point is to lower barriers, ramp up trade, and tie their economies together more tightly than ever before. And the numbers we're talking about are just mind-blowing. As part of this stronger relationship, India announced it plans to buy $500 billion worth of American goods over the next 5 years. I mean, that is a gigantic investment. And this isn't just random stuff. This massive amount of trade is focused on really strategic areas. We're talking about crucial things like energy products, aircraft, precious metals, high-end tech like GPUs, you name it. It's a deal that's designed to lock their economic futures together for a long, long time. So that brings us to the big final question, doesn't it? You've got these two powerhouse nations built on fundamentally different blueprints for how society should work. As we look at 2026 and beyond, the real question is, will those differences just cause friction, or will they actually be the secret ingredient that creates a powerful, complementary partnership, unlike anything the world has ever seen?